Inshallah,
is all
Allah
we can
gonna
do.
help you. But Mr. Martin, can you just please tell me about the first verse you read from the Holy Quran? Can you remember it? And can you just tell me about your feelings when you are reading this verse, and from which surah?
Well, basically, it was from Fatiha.
From Fatiha.
Yeah, it was the
Yes.
first line.
Yes.
It was my wife who
Your
read
wife
it
is
out
a
to
Muslim.
me. Yeah, but we weren't married at that time. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
she was just like a classmate at college.
Yeah, she was your classmate.
Yeah, but she was the one who sort of said to me, you know, this is what we say when we say our prayer. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I said to her, well, we have something similar. It sounds like our Lord's Prayer, you know. But I said, you know, unfortunately, you know, the way we are now, not many, you don't hear it that much, you know, because people, as I said earlier, you know, people have like substituted materialism for spiritualism. You know, they've really come away from spiritualism in the UK.
Let's go back to your stepfather when he was just trying to convince you after having this brainwash. What he was telling you, I need to know what are the misunderstandings for the Islamic for Islam with them. What are the misconceptions?
Well, to be honest, he never actually said it to me. He said it to my mother, and I had to come and sit with him afterwards and say, you know, look, I chose this. You know, his upbringing was Catholic, although he wasn't a practicing Catholic.
So what he accused, actually, what are the things that he said about Islam as a kind of accusation to the Islam and the Muslims?
No, he didn't. He didn't say anything like that.
He just wanted you to just remain as a Christian?
I think he was a little bit phased out by the fact that I showed up the first time at my mother's house after I became a Muslim in a thobe.
Yeah.
And I asked for water to take to the bathroom. And that kind of freaked him out a little bit, you know, and that's, it kind of went, but he spoke to my mother, he didn't actually talk to me about that, and I had to sit with him after and say to him, you know, this is my decision, just go with me on this, okay, I won't wear the thopes in the house anymore, if that's what you want, you know.
That's right. Okay, dear audience, let's continue our beautiful interview with Martin Bull about how he became a Muslim after this short report. Just stay with us.
Take hold of your iman, don't give in to shaitan. Oh, you who believe, please give thanks to Allah. Allahu Ghafoor.
The relationship between Muslims and the many multicultural backgrounds here in the West, particularly the UK, from many British people's perspective, would carry more respect and appreciation than any hard or distant feelings between one another. Yet with the presence of some media platforms, others may believe a rather negative perception of Islam is still being portrayed and fed into the Western society, carrying messages of political instability and the poor treatment of women.
The media tends to build up what perceptions are of people. And for instance, you know, I tend to feel maybe sorry for women, Muslim women, when they have the headscarves on, because there's a little bit of, well, why do they need to wear that? And I know it's because of the religion, but the perception is from the West is that they're being told to wear that type of clothing. If you look back many years ago, the IRA, one bomb and frightened 1 million. And that's what's happening now. It's almost, it's scary, because every time you now go to board an aeroplane, go to a train station, it does enter your mind that something bad could happen. And the people that now are getting labelled for that, it's not the IRA or some other organisations, political organisations, it seems to be Muslim people that get labelled with that.
Well, they are extremely kind, the most generous, hospitable people, and with their hospitality, they open their homes to you, and when they like you, they love you, they'll do anything for you. And we are extremely...
Very wonderfully generous-hearted people.
Very.
The ones we know in our community here are marvellous people.
And we have a lot of them.
And they have the highest respect from us.
And they are one of the most successful people in London, in a way of businesses, and a very respectable people.
Yeah, so now, because I know the Muslims quite well, so I can see that
I say the range now, but at a greater detail. So, for instance, some of them are very religious, who go to the mosque all the time, and others are very practical people who help people and do a lot of good things in the world. But there are many of them who are just worldly and a bit confused because they're just brought up with traditions and they don't really, they just follow them fairly blindly without really understanding what they are, you see. But there are, of course, those who take it seriously to try to study Arabic language and the Quran and things like that, and also try to behave in the best of ways with all people, you see. That's the most important thing in terms of worship and behaviour. Those two go together, you see.
With the freedom of practicing one's religion in the UK becoming an increasingly accessible right, one may ask the question, could Islam one day become the established Church of Britain? Well, the presence of mosques and Islamic communities across the country may require one to no further search for a definitive picture, and so finding the answer may no longer be necessary.
Take hold of your iman, don't give in to shaitan. Oh, you who believe, please give thanks to Allah. Allahu Ghafoor.
Welcome back, dear audience. With me in the studio, Mr. Martin Ball. He will continue his speech about his story of becoming a Muslim. Yes, Mr. Martin, I have another thing just wandering in my mind. It is just about your experience here with Islam. What are the things that you gain the most from the good manners of being a Muslim?
Inner peace. The knowledge that... Inner peace.
What a marvelous word. Inner peace.
I was really, when I look back to before I was Muslim, I was really kind of in a turmoil inside.
Yes.
I had no direction. I didn't really know where I was going.
You feel dismissed in this world?
Well, sometimes you feel like it now, but it's really not like before. Yeah, because you can always go back to God. You can, remember what you are, where you're going, and life somehow becomes more insignificant and unimportant. Like at least like the materialism side of life. Okay, I have achieved a lot more since I was Muslim than before I was. But then again, I'm a lot older, so I probably would have done anyway. Mm-hmm. But at least I'm grateful for my everything that happens. I know it happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in predestination. I know that everything has a plan. Everything has already happened in Allah's eyes. We're just catching up. That's why we can choose to do a sudden movement, but already it's been ordained that we'll do that because it's already happened. Yeah. And this is a very interesting angle of Islam that really people don't appreciate, I think, too much. They look towards the worship and everything else and they think that, oh, everything is from God. Yeah, sure, everything's from God, but everything's already been done.
Yes. Yes.
We're just catching up with what's been done already. So, this part of it, people really, a lot of people don't understand this so much.
Yeah.
But once you do, then you realize that, whatever I do, this is in my power to do it.
Yes.
If it's going to work, I don't know, because I'm not the one who's on the other side looking back.
Yes.
I'm the one who's still struggling.
Yeah.
So it's very nice to appreciate the fact that things happen in your life for a reason.
Yes.
You sort of drift in one direction for a reason. You can swing the direction, also for a reason.
Yes.
It's for
and
that.
you have the complete right to go even for left or for right direction, or just to go straight. You have the freedom to do this or that, but it accounts on your words and your sins. There is a God will judge you.
This is where the right and the wrong comes in, and the free will.
Yeah.
This is what separates us from the rest of Allah's creatures, is free will.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've had arguments with people about this, not particularly religious arguments, but just one guy that used to come to my house a lot, he used to believe that there was no such, that animals had free will.
Yes.
And I said, how can they have free will? You don't see a lion suddenly saying, "Oh, I don't want to eat a deer today. I think I'll chew on a lettuce leaf."
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen.
Yes.
Everything has a pattern.
That's right.
Yeah, but we have the power to change that pattern because we have the freedom
Yes.
of will. Yeah?
That's it. You're not forced to go here or there. You have your only decision. You have your own decision to make this or that. So that's what makes what lets you feel with this big responsibility towards Allah, and also towards yourself. Because when you hurt, you are just hurting yourself, nobody else.
I hope. I'd rather hurt myself than someone else, that's for sure.
That's what we hope, just to hurt ourselves, not to just expand to the others, to hurt them. But also, I'd like to ask you about who is the responsible for this image about Islam and the Muslims? Most of the people, I'll not mention any specific nation, but some of the people that against Islam are saying that Islam is spread among the sword, or among the edge of the sword.
To be honest,
how far can we go with this say, and how can we define our dearest religion, Islam?
I think it's already been defined. No, I think it's perfectly clear. I don't see...
because you are one of the communities that are sometimes attacking Islam. How can you, just when you go back to London, how can you define Islam after being a Muslim, after practicing and performing Islam in the real place and with the real pillars and with the real aspects, with the conceptions, everything? I think that now, after spending 20 years with being a Muslim, I think now that you are able more than before to express Islam.
Well, to be honest, I think Muslims in other non-Muslim countries are doing a far better job than Muslims in Muslim countries.
Yes.
Because they have to coexist with every other denomination of religion that you can imagine on earth. And they don't go around fighting each other. And
so are they responsible for this bad image about Islam?
Who?
The people that are going like traveling here and there. So are they the responsible, or who is the responsible?
To be honest,
from your point of view, of course.
To be honest, I don't think it's the people who travel here and there that are responsible for a bad image of Islam, because they have to live in those societies. And if they acted like the people act in Muslim countries, they would have been kicked out a long time ago. They have to integrate into the society. They have to exist. They have to walk past bars and nightclubs to go to the mosque, which you don't have to do here. Their existence, for example, in the special holidays and ceremonies that within Islam, like the Ramadan and other special things, they have to live that in that country under their rule, under the rules of that country, not like here where everything changes in Ramadan and people sleep from like dawn to dusk. I mean, that's not fasting.
Yes.
For example, I mean, go to England and fast. You'll see how it feels to fast.
Ramadan is just for worshiping Allah, to just, Allah has given us the chance to get closer to Him, to give us also the chance to read in the Holy Quran. This is for our own benefit. It's not just for anybody else, it's just for our benefit.
Of course it is, but...
So we have to take the chance not to sleep.
But here, everything is like change. It's like night becomes day and day becomes night during Ramadan in like the Middle East. Whereas in the UK it doesn't. You carry on as normal. You don't have any shortened working hours. Also, of course, with the hours of the summer in England is very long. So it's very tiring. The fasting is very long, and the times between the fast is very short.
Sleep is very short.
And still you have to do a day's work. You can't stay in bed all day. You'll get fired.